With all that said, there will come a time when discipline is needed. There are things which will work, things which are not such a great idea, and things which should be avoided at all costs. Wait a second, aren't these religious students? Why are they acting like this? Don't they have any respect? First of all, they are religious students, but they're kids. And as we've said, they're in a very challenging environment. Second, they don't disrespect you. It's a matter of disregard. They're so caught up in what they're doing that they can't help themselves sometimes. You'll be surprised how the same students who are impossible during class and you think hate your guts will actually be the ones who will walk you to your car asking you about the football game. The ironic thing is that the lion's share of disciplinary issues happens during secular studies. These kids don't act this way at home, in the synagogue, in camp, during the morning religious studies, during the night sessions, or even in the dormitory, although that may be a close second. The bottom line is that everybody else in their life gets to see them in a much more positive light, and sometimes wonder, he's such a sweet kid, he's a little lively, but he never acts like this around me, what's wrong? It often falls upon the secular studies principal to tell the parents, number one, yes, this is what happened, and number two, your son will behave differently in this situation because of all the challenges it presents. There are some specific motives which are good to try to recognize. Sometimes it's restlessness. Sometimes someone wants to be the class clown, especially if he's trying to cover up for learning deficiencies, he doesn't understand the material. Rather than looking silly, he'd rather distract everybody and gain his friends' admiration that way. Sometimes he's angry, either at you or at something that has absolutely nothing to do with you. Sometimes there's a power struggle on behalf of the class against the teacher or against another student. And sometimes there are underlying behavioral issues which the school will be aware of. Let's say you suspect that there is an underlying behavioral issue that has not been diagnosed. We'll discuss how to deal with this in our section on parent-teacher conferences. Sometimes students will be moved by an outside distraction, such as motorcycles in the street, snow on the ground, too sunny, no air conditioning, or an event that's happening before school or that will happen after school. Sometimes you will receive the dubious award of Teacher of the Year. What that means is that students, either consciously or unconsciously, form in their minds an idea of which teacher should be the target. This can switch off from year to year. It often does, based on a whole bunch of different factors. It has no reflection on the quality or performance of the teacher, and a good principal is quite aware of that. Ride out the storm, do your best, because soon it will be somebody else's turn. On one hand, the types of disruptions you'll experience will vary. Sometimes it's just general unruliness, they can't stop talking, they can't settle down. Sometimes it's deliberate, they're trying to disrupt. Sometimes it's one student, and sometimes it's a group of students. However, the methods of dealing with them are relatively the same. If there's one golden rule for dealing with disciplinary issues, it's act, don't react. Reacting reinforces what they did, and it rewards them. It also gives the platform for the blame game. How do you expect me to cooperate in a room where a teacher acts like that? There is a double standard. What do you mean? I only acted that way because you were acting that way. But ultimately, we want to be held to a higher standard. That's our professionalism. We're in charge. We're the adult in the room. And yes, our students may not act up to par. We have to take the higher road.